Voltaire, the environment is a shared responsibility. Each one of us is called to do our part to protect the environment from further degradation. Now, as we celebrate Earth Day today, we put the spotlight on practices that reduce the impact of climate change and address the country's waste problem. With us this morning is Voltaire Alferez. He's the trustee in charge of the Earth Day Network Philippines Secretariat. Good morning, Voltaire. Thanks for joining us.
Voltaire, morning, Paolo. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day to you. Voltaire, climate change is a long-standing issue around the world, but here in the Philippines, well, the question is, where are we now in terms of fighting it? How are we in terms of our fight against climate change?
Well, according to Dr. Rosa Perez in our webinar last week, she said that based on current submissions of the nationally determined contributions to the UNFCCC, we are still off mark in terms of the target of well below 2 degrees Celsius. So that means if countries continue to go on the pathway where, as stated in their NDCs, we will miss the 2 degrees Celsius mark, which is disconcerting and worrisome because any increase to that level would also have several impacts, especially for us in the country that is already considered one of the most vulnerable countries in the world, but at the same time, one of the most exposed countries as far as hazards are concerned. And these hazards are greatly exacerbated by climate change, especially with the warming of the Pacific Ocean, where our typhoons are developed, and the sea level rise that is occurring very, very gradually, but in time we will surely feel that, especially in our islands.
Right. Voltaire, you know, the clock continues to tick. However, the COVID-19 pandemic is certainly, breathing down our neck. It's made things a little bit worse, perhaps. It's exacerbated our garbage problem. The Environment Department says at least 52,000 metric tons of hospital waste is created and continues to be generated. What can we do at this point to address this?
Well, definitely, that's also a great concern. There's an offset to the pandemic because on one hand, our air has greatly improved. The quality of our air has greatly improved, but at the same time, solid waste has become a big issue because of the masks as well as the deliveries to our respective homes. And that is why we continue to call for segregation at source, because that is the only way that solid waste can be managed accordingly. But at the same time, the duty falls upon the local government units that while segregation at source is being done, they should always be done by their collectors, that segregation is also maintained so that landfills can only receive the residuals and all else shall be either recycled or composted.
Right.
Now, on the issue of masks, the other concern about that is the wanton throwing of these materials to our surroundings. And that falls squarely on each and every one. And that is why for Earth Day 2021 in the Philippines, we added the phrase, doing our fair share to restore the earth. Because it cannot be left to government or to business or to institutions to protect and to restore the earth. We ourselves must be responsible and should do our fair share in the little things that we do at our homes, especially in managing our wastes. We also discussed this in a webinar series that we have where management of waste can really start with reduction and reusing of materials that are already in the home. Now, those that we cannot avoid at this point will have to be segregated also by local government units.
All right, Voltaire, in line with the theme of doing our fair share, how can we align our efforts perhaps with some of the other projects and efforts of the Earth Day Network Philippines?
Well, our continuing call has always been solid waste management, and that is something that we have always called on government, especially local government, but at the same time raise awareness of our people. Because segregation of waste is critical in the way that we want to restore the earth. The other one is, of course, we want also to teach our children and our families and our fellow Filipinos to be involved in the many environmental causes in the country, from marine to climate change to biking to clean air. No? And all of those are critical in ensuring that our country's natural heritage are preserved and conserved for the future.
All right.
There's also a lot of things that we can do at home, such as reusing eco bags, for example, instead of getting plastic, especially single-use plastics. No? And of course, being able to have those items always on the go, not just in our home, but always on the go in our trunks, in our bicycles, and even in our bags.
I suppose the
so that
old
whenever we
adage,
buy something, we can reuse them.
That's true. I suppose the old adage of reduce, reuse, and recycle really is something that we can continue to take into heart. Indeed, one small act goes a very long way. I'd like to say thank you very much to Voltaire Alferez for being with us this morning right here on New Day. Thank you so much.